good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another edition of Generations of the Game podcast. It's your boy JP. Of course, got my boy with me, Ill Will Lyons. What's up, Will? How you feeling, brother?
Hey, I'm blessed, man. We get to talk sports again, being consistent, and we got a full house, man. Go ahead and do the intros.
Yes, sir. We got a full house for you all today. First off, we got great coach, AAU coach, one of the best AAU coaches in the country. What matter of fact, skip the AAU coach, one of the best coaches in the country. Period. We team affiliated with Team Final. We got Aaron Burt, AB. What's going on, Aaron?
JP, what's going on? What's going on, my brother?
All right, hanging in there, bruh. And we also got another coach as well on here from the state of Delaware. We got my man, Coach Rod, AAU coach, and also high school coach as well. What's up, Rod?
What's up, fellas? What's up, AB?
What's going on, Rod? How you been, my brother?
Hey.
Yeah. Okay.
Hey,
How you been?
good to see you,
How you
Aaron.
been,
It's been a
Rod?
long time, brother. Everything is good
I know,
over here.
Rod.
How about for you?
I'm great, man. Good seeing you, man. It's been a minute.
I think Rod got a little delay. We're
Yeah, he
like,
got a
there we
little
Good,
go.
delay.
brother.
There we
Good.
go.
Okay.
It sure has.
All
Go
right.
ahead, Johnny.
So,
Go ahead, JP.
okay. Okay, y'all ready? Go ahead, Will. Let's start it off. I guess first off, we'll start off with the NFL free agency that's going that's going on right now. Um, Eagles made some big moves today, yesterday and today. Well, actually, this week. They signed Saquon Barkley, and today they just got Devin White from the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. There was some major moves, man. How he strikes again. So we're gonna start with AB first, man. AB, what do you think about the moves so far that the Eagles have made?
You know what, man? It's great moves for Philly. Coming off their two retirements from two of their longtime, great players. This is a good move from them. Losing two guys and gaining these two guys. They fell short last year. It's like once certain things got figured out, they couldn't make adjustments. That's my view of it. I'm not a big football analyst or anything like that, but I just felt like they couldn't make adjustments as a team. Adding Saquon to that dynamic is totally lethal to what they have already. And Devin White, man, is one of the most outstanding linebackers in the past 5 years in the NFL. So for me, who likes the Cowboys, is not good, but you know what? For the area, it's going to be great. As you get older, you don't pretty much be a team fan as you used to as a kid. You just enjoy the sport and the competition. So you know what? It's good for the Philly area, good for the team too.
Man, wait a minute. How do you and your brother exist with him being a Steelers fan and you being a Cowboys fan? I know you had to have some battles when you all were younger, man.
All the time, man. You know what, man? Growing up in Centerville, most of the older guys in the area were just Cowboy fans back in the day with Dorsett, Starback, Drew Pearson, Tony Hill, the Doomsday defense with Harvey Martin, too. So I can go on and on and on, man. So I just gravitated to it. But my older brother was a Steelers fan. So my brother jumped on that bandwagon. And, he'd been a Steelers fan ever since we were kids. And my mom, she liked all the Philly sports. She liked the Eagles. So our household was divided all the way through when it came to football teams.
Yeah, I hear you. Oh, Rod, how do you feel? How do you feel about the moves? Oh, he's gone.
Give me here comes Rod. He
Okay.
rejoined.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
just
Rod. How do you feel about the moves that Philly made?
I think it solidifies their push to have a real solid ground game. And with Saquon coming in, man, he's a running back. He had over like 7,000 yards in the last few years. So long as he stays durable, it takes a lot of pressure off of Jalen. He doesn't have to run it much, and plus you got the star receivers, AJ and Devontae Smith, and I think it's a right move, and they should be right in the mix again.
Right, right. Will.
I think it was some good points made. I think the Saquon addition, if he's healthy, is a big one. As far as his play style, he's similar to like Christian McCaffrey. He's a threat in the passing game as well.
Yeah.
And he can definitely, take some of the eyes off of Jalen, which you want to do. The way the Eagles started the season, he was like hobbled. You could see he wasn't healthy. So anything you can do to keep him healthy and also add another threat, a dual threat, if you will, that's big. And then what they did with the defense, is big too. Bringing in Gardner Johnson, a guy that was there, had some success and wanted to come back. That's big, along with the other additions. I mean, I got to give it to the Eagles front office. They know, I feel like that they came up short. Of course, injuries were a part of it, but they definitely did what I would consider money well spent.
Definitely, I agree. As we keep on moving on to NFL. Also, yesterday there was a big signing as well from the Baltimore Ravens getting Derrick Henry. Man, him and Lamar Jackson in the same backfield, man. That's going to be crazy. Anyway, Coach Rob, we're going to start with you on this one. How do you feel about Derrick Henry fitting into Baltimore next year?
Love Derrick Henry. He as long as he stays durable and they pace him and rest him up for the playoffs. Because look, Baltimore does great. The Ravens are really good in the regular season, but when they get to the playoffs, they can't get over the hump. So I think with Henry passing that ball, and if he stays fresh till he gets to the playoffs, and then they give the ball to him, sure enough, takes again a lot of load off of Lamar from having to run a lot. He still can do that, but I think Derrick Henry is just a punishing back, and kind of with that stature, I guess if you go back and compare him, not that he's Jim Brown, but he's got that same type of stature, that frame, and he's a punishing runner. So I think it tremendously helps them, but they still got to deal with Patrick Mahomes, though. So no matter what.
Yeah. AB, what's your thoughts, brother, on what Baltimore did signing Derrick Henry?
Yo, man, the King is a load.
Yes,
the King is a load. So you
Word.
know what, man? Him with Lamar back there, he probably is upset and mean because he probably was undervalued, underappreciated down in Tennessee. So he's gonna come in camp ready to go, ready to roll, prove he's still the king, prove he can still do 15 to 1,600 yards a year and be an impactful back. And they're probably gonna dump it off to him. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like Tennessee didn't take advantage of him in the passing game. So hopefully Lamar can do that type of thing with him as well, make him that much deadlier, man. So you know what? I wouldn't want to be on the other side of a refreshed Derrick Henry in the backfield with Lamar Jackson back there too. That's kind of scary.
Yeah, definitely. I agree, man. Will?
I think Derrick Henry is a perfect addition, especially when you think about like Rod said, the Ravens are typically a good regular season team, so there's a good chance they'll have a home field advantage in the playoffs. And it's cold in Baltimore, and you want to run that ball, so it doesn't have to rely as much on Lamar. And I think, Henry, as long as they give him the ball, he's going to be a problem, man, in the red zone, third and short, even if, 4th and 1, and he sets you up well for play action because he's such a threat to break off a big play.
Yep.
Yeah, I agree. And I definitely agree with about Derrick Henry being the modern day Jim Brown, man. That's who his style reminds me of. I also heard there was I don't know how true it is. Somebody told me earlier that there's a rumor that Baltimore was actually trying to go after Debo as well. And I'm like, man, you had Debo Samuels to that. They might be the favorites next year over Kansas City. Speaking of Kansas City, real quick, the last topic about the NFL. they re-signed Chris Jones, which I think was huge. AB, we'll start you off with that. What do you think about the Chris Jones signing with Kansas City Chiefs?
You know what? He's a catalyst of their defense. He stirs a strong defense. He's the guy that, has to be accounted for. He puts the pressure. He's the leader. So it's very important for them because as Mahomes gets a little older, if we can say he's older, as he gets more experienced, he's probably not going to be the Superman that he is as he gets a little older. So the defense for them to win another one, like the defense has to be special. The defense has to be special. So I think re-signing him on that line is just reshores everything with them, man. They're. I don't care what you say. I don't care who's on what team. They're the team to beat. Because Mahomes is dynamic. They re-signed Chris Jones, and they got Andy Reid. They're gonna pull it together.
Definitely. That they are, as Ric Flair said, well, if you to be the man, you got to beat the man. And right now, Kansas City definitely is the man. Coach Rod?
Yeah, well, Kansas City did the right thing because if they let Chris Jones go, that is absolutely starting over, and he's a rock. He made a pivotal play in the Super Bowl. He thought when he came through, say, hey, this must be a screenplay, but somebody missed an assignment, and he really sealed the deal for the championship game in the Super Bowl. So I'm thinking that he must sign for them. No matter what it costs, they had to keep him because he's that critical, sort of like, if you think about how critical some of the players were during that era, like Lawrence Taylor, Bruce Smith for the Buffalo Bills, Charles Haley, those kind of guys, or those are the guys you can't find all the time. And when you got one, you got to keep that diamond because if you don't, somebody else is definitely picking him up.
Yeah, definitely. Will?
Now, I'm glad, Rod, you rattled off the list that you did. Clearly, as the younger generation, I wasn't alive, but I watched some of the footage of those guys, and I like the comparison because the thing with Chris Jones is he's a great player, but he scares the hell out of the offense.
Yeah.
And that's important. Some certain players, they're good in the scheme or whatever, but Chris Jones, if he gets his hands on you, there's a chance that you may be done, for the game or the season. And that drastically shifts the way that they're going to have to scheme their offensive line to try to block him. So even if he's not making the play, one or two other guys are going to get open just off of the gravity that he brings.
Yeah.
Right. As we move on now to the world of hoops, I guess we're going to start with talking about the NCAA. Always ladies first. Well, we got to start LSU versus South Carolina last week, man. And I'm going to say this. I think they made too much of a big deal about the little scrape that happened, man. We all seen way worse scraps than that. Dawn Staley handled everything with class as usual. But Kim Mulkey had some very interesting comments to say after the game. And things get heated in games. That's the main thing. But AB, we're going to start with you first, man. First off, how did you feel about the South Carolina LSU game and maybe some of the comments that Coach Mulkey made afterwards?
You know what, man? Basketball is an emotional sport. And the way the games are being called now, it doesn't allow you to bring emotion into the game. So it's hard to really, to me, compete at the highest level you possibly can without the emotion. Some tussling got into it and all that kind of stuff. Benches were cleared. The rules are the rules, and I get that. Dawnie handled it perfect. She was with grace, perfection, and everything, and she's raised that program to be perfect. Every program in the country now wants to be like South Carolina and do the things that they do. But the comments that Kim Mulkey made, it was totally disturbing to me. You add Angel Reese in there who wasn't involved in the push and say she had issues with Angel Reese beginning of the season. So for her to add Angel's name in that conversation instead of showing class and being the adult and being the coach that she is and saying, you know what, man, emotions get tied up. We apologize for it. I guarantee it won't happen again. In the heat of competition, things can happen. It's like she's stirring a pot. So if they play again or when they play again, the attraction is going to be on that incident and not the basketball game. So I thought it was kind of classless.
Yeah, definitely. Coach Rod?
Well, I'm thinking that a couple of things. If I'm in a fight, I want Cardozo on my squad. I mean, because that's what you want. You want your players to be in the moment but control their emotions. So I think that it didn't hurt the game, but it showed how competitive those two teams are. I don't know if every team's going to get to that point where it's going to be a boiling point, but SEC rivals, you're battling 1 versus 2, and like AB said, hey, look, it's every action there's a reaction. So could have been handled better by Mulkey, yeah. Dawn Staley is knowing her personally, she's really a good people, because when you go in, when she was at Temple, instead of shaking hands, she wants to hug you. And that's just the way she is. And I think that all I think also, fellas, is that, damn, I wish Temple could have kept her and gave her those millions that South Carolina gave her. Because can you imagine what Philly would be like if she could have got these girls to come? But I know that's wishful thinking. But the game itself, great game, great competitive, raised the status of the game. And me, when LSU plays, I'm watching. When South Carolina plays, I'm watching. So that's my 2 cents worth on it. And I don't think in the long run it's going to hurt the game, because you have, a lot of pushing and shoving, a lot of trash talking in every game. It's just that this one is for the SEC championship. And like to say SEC, it means more.
Yeah, definitely. Y'all made some great points. Very great points both y'all made. Will?
So I would say overall, the game was entertaining. It's always entertaining when they play 2 great programs. But I would say the incident itself, I mean, if you ever played, whether it's on a playground, or in an organized game, both the coaches said, things happen, you jogging for position or whatever, you talking trash. And to be real, LSU is the #1 trash talking team in America. From start to finish of the game, they're talking, especially against South Carolina. They embrace that matchup, and that's just what they do. But it boiled over, obviously, and it went too far. And I will say, on the real, sometimes shoving and stuff happens. That's really not a big deal to me. But my issue is more when you have family members, people, coming out the stands, getting into it. Now, I will say it was hilarious because, Flage's brother came onto the court, and then he realized just how tall Cardozo really was. And he was like, oh, hell no, never mind, and so he got escorted off the court, so that was funny. But all seriousness, as a man, as a father of 2, young girls, we got to stay out of that type of stuff. You know what I mean? Unless you're grabbing your daughter or your sister, whatever, you got to stay out of the ladies' conflicts. But Coach Mulkey, she has a history of making crass comments, and I'll be real, we can be real, she's a great coach, but we can separate, Coach Staley is class personified. She's a great ambassador for our culture as well. And if my daughters were 5-star recruits and both were recruiting them, there's no way I'm signing off on going to LSU, just being real, because I feel like one coach wants you strictly for what you can do on the court. The other coach cares about you as a person. And as you can see, even with the WNBA players from South Carolina, Coach Staley supports them well beyond their time in the uniform there.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Very good points. Very good points. Let's talk about 2 other teams too who punched their ticket to the to the NCAA tournament. They were going to get in regardless. Let's start off with Notre Dame, local product. Hannah Hidalgo, MVP of the ACC tournament. Man, she put on the show this year. Coach Ryan, we'll start with you on that. What do you think about Notre Dame and their chances going forward in the NCAA tournament?
Well, Hidalgo has to play well. I mean, she's a phenomenal player and has been like that. You know, most New Jerseyans will know that right away. But so she's showing the rest of the nation that she can absolutely play the game. And she's a fierce competitor, doesn't back down, plays a lot of minutes, coach on the floor. And I'm happy for her. I don't necessarily like Notre Dame, but I root for her all the day, all the time, because she's, you know, from this area and she's a heck of a player. And this depends on the seeding and where they go. The draw, you know, probably the first couple rounds. I potentially could see them winning a couple games and maybe getting to the Sweet 16. But everybody's got to bring it, and so you know, New Jersey should be real proud of her.
Yes, sir. Indeed. AB?
You know what, man? Like I've known Hannah since she's been like a little kid. Watching her go around in the gym, shooting in between games and just working and grinding. And I've known her father and brothers and mom all this time. And it's just amazing to watch her perform the way she's performing at Notre Dame. I can tell you one thing, she's worked, she's grinded. She loves people like think they love basketball. You know, they think they're doing enough, but she loved it, ate it, slept it. Like, you know, it was incredible and it's paying off, man. But if you can ask anybody that if you thought that she would have a freshman season the way she's having, no one would have said she would have. But you know, my hats off to her family.
Yep.
I mean, she's playing hard and excellent. And you know, her dad Orlando, just you know, he grinded her up, made her work, loved her, but she turned into loving the game of basketball. It wasn't her father. She turned into it, but her dad did an excellent job grooming her for this position, and I'll put her up against any guard in the country right now.
Yep.
Definitely agreed. Will?
Well, JP, you know we've been singing Hannah's praises all season, you know, and I do agree with AB. You know, if I was predicting her numbers and everything, I wouldn't have thought they would have looked like what they do look like. But I definitely thought she would be an impact player. You know, I root for all the New Jersey players, of course, but she's killing it, man. And she's the type of player that elevates, like, you know, her teammates too, as being a playmaker like she is. Maddie Westbell's playing the best basketball of her career right now for them. Centron is hooping. So I mean, I think, you know, they can maybe get, you know, 3 victories in the tournament. Obviously, it does depend on the way the bracket shakes out. But if you've seen anything, you know, they won some really tough matchups. You know, they get punched. You know, they punch back. They beat um, Virginia Tech with Kitley, you know, and without her. So, you know, they beat some really good competition, you know, and she had I believe what might have been either her highest or second highest scoring game against South Carolina. So that speaks volumes with their defense. So, you know, the tournament, man, you know, one and done. So there's no telling how far they can go.
Yep.
Agreed. Also, last weekend we saw USC have a big win over Stanford.
Mhm.
Juju was off, but the rest of the players stepped up. They're going to be a dangerous team, I think, in the NCAA tournament. AB, we're going to start with you, man. What do you think about USC with Juju Watkins?
You know what? She's a bucket. She's a flat out bucket, and for her not to play well, but for them to feed off her energy and get the wins that they got, her attitude is contagious. That just goes to show, like, you know, what they do, the routines they do in practice, their work ethic, her energy rubbing off on everybody. You got to give the hats off to the coaches as well. I think they can go deep into the tournament.
Mhm.
If they can continue to play like that and don't depend on her to score, and she can take up 2 bodies to guard her and do all that kind of stuff, and they can gang rebound like they did, and put the ball in the bucket like they did, they can go deep into the tournament, man. They're exciting. They're very exciting to watch as well.
Coach Rod.
Yeah, it's nice to have a star player with all that talent and at such a young age. I mean, I don't particularly stay up late at night because I'm just, built to go to bed at, 9, 10, 11 at the max. But I stayed up and watched USC, one of the games, and man, this Juju is absolutely a phenomenal player. Nothing that she can't do, and nothing really phases her. So I like her game, and again, based on the seeding and the draw, I think they would probably keep them in the West. I'm thinking since it's USC or Midwest at the least, so they can have a crowd to follow that game. But so it's a little different because the women play on like the higher seed court for the first few rounds. So I'm thinking that she's got the total package and has really good size, and I expect she's only going to get better and better as long as she doesn't become complacent. So I really like her game a lot.
You on mute, JP.
Okay.
Okay, so Juju, phenomenal. She can score with the best of them already.
Yep.
She rebounds, she competes. That team overall, though, like I do feel like the masses, all you see like media wise is like Juju, but the more we've gotten in the conference play, you see that they just find ways to win. And I think teams like that are very dangerous in the tournament because you do have a chance where, your star can be off, so you need to see other players stepping up. And one of the things I want to highlight with Juju, you see the points, you see the stat lines, but I saw a video where she gifted her entire team custom Nikes, through her NIL partnership. And it seems like all of her teammates genuinely, love her and appreciate, her being a part of the team. And that's big as well, So I think they're tough, man. And, Juju, the next step for her is Coach Gottlieb needs to get her and watch some film and like show her some of the times where she's seeing two, maybe even a third defender, and like, look, you see how they're playing you here? This teammate is open in this area of the court. I know sometimes in real time it's hard to make that read and see it if you're not a point guard,
Right.
but that's the next step in her game. And at that point, the points may drop a little bit, but you're going to see her. I think she can average easily 6 assists, a game, at the next evolution, in her game. And that's going to be the Juju that's extremely dangerous, So she's got some Maya Moore, some Simone Augustus type gravity to her. And I'm just, grateful we get to watch her.
Yeah, she is must-see TV. And
Yeah.
I agree with you once you start watching film and making those reads, those early reads, so later in the game, they can play those reads and she can kind of be more effective off the bounce to do the things you need to do as well.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, definitely. As this weekend we're looking at the men's tournament. This week we just saw a major upset earlier tonight with Duke losing to NC State tonight. They're gonna be okay though. Duke's gonna be okay, man. And this you know what? We gotta talk about this recruiting class that Duke has coming in next year, man. It might be one of the best ever. AB, we're gonna start with you, brother, because you know most of these players and you interact with these players. What do you see for Duke next year with this recruiting class they got coming in, man?
You know what? Well, I'm gonna shout out to my man Cam English right just now. They just had that big upset against Creighton in the Big East. So
Yep.
shout out to Kim and Providence in his first year there. But Duke is Duke, man. They can get whoever they want, how they want, do what they do. And they have a really good class coming in, man. And top that class off is Cooper, who's a dynamic offensive and defensive player. I've seen him play and many a times, and watch how he competes. It's going to be interesting for Duke to see how they utilize those young guys mixed with the guys that may be coming back. They're probably going to lose at least 3 guys next year, so those guys could come in and step in as young guys and compete. But they got a phenomenal class coming in, man. But You know, hope John does a really good job to mold them well. You know, I think this will be his third year. Next year will be his third year.
Yeah.
So he'll be little bit more seasoned, you know, in the head seat. You know what I mean?
Yep.
And hey man, he got Cooper Flag and those guys coming in. So it's going to be another good year for Duke. It's just those guys can mature enough, you know, to take it to the tournament and make a difference in the tournament. But I got a great class coming in.
Yeah, definitely. Coach Rod, what do you feel about this class that Duke has coming in next year?
Yeah, it's the wrong guy. I root for Carolina. But look, man, I'm just being honest. I look, they got a great class, talent-wise. Now it's up to Shire and that staff to put those guys together. Because look, if you think about it, Kentucky has a great class every year, top talent, but they don't always win. And you would think if you got all this talent coming in, you should automatically win, but it ain't that easy. So I'm thinking that they got positional players, but you got to remember they had never played college basketball. They're coming out of high school. And there is a difference getting some guys, you know, like Zion can come in and play right away. Maybe I think Cooper Flag will be all right. But the other guys, are they going to be college ready? Are they going to put 5 players out there, freshmen, like the Fab Five, or are they going to take a year to groom these guys? So that's the thing. I give them credit. They absolutely got a loaded class, but will that loaded class mean winning for Duke right away, or is it going to mean winning down the road and maybe 2 or 3 of those guys are gone off to the NBA? So credit, kudos. They got a great class. And hopefully, I'm just surprised. I'll be honest with you. I was hoping that Cooper Flag would go to UConn because I really like Kamani Young and Danny Hurley. So, but that's just me. But he's at Duke, and we'll see how it goes.
Yeah, Will.
I like the Duke class. As far as basketball wise, rooting for Kentucky. I don't want to see Duke get anybody, but Cooper Flag, he's answered the call every time I've watched him play. He's, outside of, the skill set that he has, the number one thing, he's a competitor that jumps off the screen.
Yep.
Isaiah Evans, I don't like to do the player comparisons, but his build and the way he plays, he's got some like baby Ingram to him. So I think he's tough. They got some shooting coming in. I think the dude Nupel, hopefully I'm saying it right, he's a bucket. Nabonga, he's got to get healthy, but I think he's a good multi-year big man for them. And then Darren Harris, he's a hell of a shooter. But the guy that to me is going to jump off the screen is the player that there's the least film on, and that's the 7'1" guy out of Africa, Kaman Maluk. JP, our guy Pablo, friend of the show, he looped me in on this kid, about 6 to 8 months ago. And when Duke started recruiting him, and that kid is something, man. Rim protector, lob threat, super mobile. He's, I think, one of the basketball without borders prospects. And he is really something. Just keep an eye out.
Yeah, they said he killed it down Atlanta, the Basketball Without Borders camp, this summer, and he was phenomenal. We played against Isaiah Evans, and I tell you one thing, he shoots the basketball like no other. So, I mean, they have a good class, man. Will they play all those guys at the same time? You don't know. But it's gonna contend on who's leaving Duke this year.
Yeah.
How they'll get ready for next season for the guys that's leaving. So I'm predicting, Roach is a senior, but I'm predicting other 3 or 4 guys are getting out of there. So Duke, they just reloaded, they retooled up.
Yeah, definitely. Coach Shire, he's doing a great job. It's hard to replace a legend like Coach K. That's not an easy thing to do it all. But for him to reload the way Coach K did, it speaks volumes about him, man. And the program's going to keep on keeping on, man. Okay, as we've reached the bulk of what we're going to talk about from here on in now. And we have an alumni of this school right here with us. He could give us tremendous insight. First off, we're going to say congratulations to the Camden High School Panthers for their 13th state championship in school history. They had a dominating performance last week against Newark Arts. They were up by as many as 25 points. They won the game 69-50. A great team effort they had last week from everyone. But Coach Waynes did a great job this year coaching, 30-2 on the year. But there was some controversy, and yeah, we're going to get into it, y'all. Camden and Manasquan played last Tuesday night. Camden kid hit foul shots, 5 seconds left. Kid from Manasquan comes out court, takes a three-pointer. He misses it. The kid scores the basket, apparently before the buzzer. But the way people have made this thing as if it was Camden's fault, the reason why Manasquan lost, even though it was the referee's fault. Also, there has been some vicious stuff said about this historically great program, which didn't make it. We got to remember, these are kids, but people sit there calling them niggers and darkies and all this other stuff. You see it online, it's very vicious, man, very vicious towards these kids. They had nothing to do with the call whatsoever. But AB, being that you're a former player with Camden, you got a couple of state championships. And you're one of the legends to come out of there. Speak on it, on just everything, man.
You know what? First, shout out to Coach Waynes and the staff at Camden High for winning the 13th state championship. Shout out to the players. They did a heck of a job. You know, it's got a lot of pressure playing in Camden.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you're asked to perform at a high level every game. You have a big fan support, and it's not even the student section. It's the alumni section. It's the city. You know, everyone comes out and they expect you to represent the city at a high fashion. You know, basketball is one of the things that we've thrived on, that has been the soul of the city. So shout out to those kids, man, because it's with us. It's, you know, one thing I was upset of, they were excited about the sectional championship or the South Jersey championship. With us, the state champ will bust. You know what I mean? And those guys got to understand that and learn the culture that we've done. But shout out to the team for winning and all that kind of stuff. It's unfortunate that, you know, these kids are being blamed for a human error. You know, however they want to call it, however they want to say it, whatever it may look like, when the refs made the call, the game was the game. And if they would have called it the other way, you know, Camden would have bowed down gracefully. It is what it is, you know, but I don't think the rest of the state country has been using a lot of class when it came to this decision. You know, it was human eye. Error happened. It happens every game. They're not talking about Manasquan only scoring, 4 points or 7 points in the second half. They're not talking about the turnovers that they had. They're not talking about the missed shots. They're not talking about how Camden turned the defense up in the second half to cut the lead when the coach made adjustments and things of that nature. So you could say that call blew the game. You could say whatever you want. Talk about the turnovers. Talk about the missed shots. Talk about the pressure that was on them in the second half. You know, those are all facets and aspects of the game. You know, so when you talk about a human error, which happens all the time, and there were other human errors in that game that had happened, but they're not talking about those. It's unfortunate that the ball may have bounced out of Manasquan's way and it bounced to ours, but, you know, we'll take it. But those kids did nothing wrong. They went out there, they competed, they cut a lead, they played, they took the lead, and the refs made a call. Once the refs made the call, the game was the game. But those kids shouldn't be scrutinized, punished, talked about, or anything of that nature. You know, one thing I look at when it comes to basketball, and I've been around it for a long time, that players have no freedom when it comes to anything. You can't express emotion. Coaches can't express emotion, but refs can constantly make mistakes. And you can't comment, you can't say a thing, or you'll get fined, you'll get tossed, you'll get anything. This to me, this goes to prove that, and I know there's no instant replay in high school and all that kind of stuff, but when it's trickling all down from the NBA, it's trickling. It's all the bad habits, everything. The refs, high school refs look at NBA refs, so they want to control a game and do certain things like the NBA guys want to do. But refs should get A. They should get evaluated and judged and all that kind of stuff on the way they call the game. Maybe they'll do instead of a good job, a great job, because the basketball players are held to a certain standard to do a great job. So it's unfortunate for Manasquan. I'm happy for Camden, 13 state championship, but those kids did nothing wrong. They went out and competed. That ref made the call, or those refs made the call. The call was the call. Game was over. And, that's something that everybody in that experience will have to learn for the rest of their life. Just get something out of that, learn, move forward, but you can't linger on it.
Very, very good points. Very, very, very good points. Coach Rod?
As you can see, I'm passionate about Camden High basketball.
No, we couldn't tell.
Yes, sir. You have every right to be. Hey, man, you won a couple state titles with him, bro. So, and AB, I'm going to tell you something, too. Another thing that happened, too. I remember that game y'all had against Elizabeth in 88. And I remember, I think it was like either 10 seconds left or less on that clock. I remember when Denny Brown and I think it was Jermaine Williams came down with the ball together. Nobody moved a pivot foot or anything. The referees called a walk in that game, which was controversial. You all never made a big deal about it. It was like, oh, we lost the game because of this, that, and the third. Y'all just like, hey, we lost. That was it.
Yeah.
And that cost, as far as I'm concerned, that cost y'all a three-peat. That one call cost y'all a three-peat. Go ahead.
And the game was supposed to be a night game. They switched it. They switched it to a 12 o'clock afternoon game at Monmouth University. It wasn't. We wasn't supposed to play that game. It was supposed to be a night game at Rutgers. They switched it to a noon game at Monmouth University. So we ain't complain. We ain't do nothing. You know what I mean? We went out and played Elizabeth. They beat us, and it was what it was. So
Right. And you know what? I'm gonna come to you in a second, Coach Rod. That's another thing too to have a problem with the NJSIA. Why are they still playing? Why is Camden still playing games at 12 o'clock in the afternoon? I mean, they really have to let go of stuff that happened 30, 40, 50 years ago with Camden. They still have this stigma on them from the NJSIA, and we know where it's coming from. We know it's all against Coach Turner. And for the time he was down there, we all know that. But they really need to let this stuff go with Camden. There hasn't been no incidents or anything at a Camden game I can remember in the last 25 years. So why are they still? Go ahead.
I can't remember anything like it's besides maybe my eighth grade year when they were in the playoffs when I was there playing Atlantic City. It's crazy because my 10th or 11th grade year, we played Atlantic City with no fans in the South Jersey final game.
Wow.
Nobody knew where it was going but the bus driver. And
that's crazy.
For us to be in that environment, it's just Camden is viewed as I don't even know, but I don't think they're treated fairly when it comes to the NJISAA. So for once, we got the ball bounced our way, and we'll take it. Yeah.
Well, another thing was too. The fans, look, Camden, I'm going to be honest with you. Camden High to me is the most passionate fan base I've ever seen out of any. It's about college, pro, high school. They're They're the most passionate fan base. And of course, they support their teams. They're great fans. They do everything. But you know, they've got a bad rap over the years too with games where they said there's been brawls and stuff. I remember, AB, I think you were at that game too. The game against Long Branch. The kids had water bottles thrown at them from the Long Branch section. But somehow Camden gets put on probation. The fight they had with Trenton in 91, when Greg Barr and them, they were going to win it in 92, they got banned that year. They weren't even nowhere near on the court. The players were nowhere on the court, but somehow they got banned. And for people to sit up here and talk about, oh, you know, they cheated with this one, you don't know the history of Camden High basketball. You don't know the times they've got cheated. There's been at least 4 teams they've had that have been cheated from competing in the state tournament where they would have won. 1973, they would have won with Wayne Smalls and them. They would have won it that year. Greg Barr and them, they would have won it that year. The year DeJuan Wagner and them in 99, they got cheated out of that for being on probation for something they didn't do. And this continues to happen over again. So for people, I'm going to make this last point. I'm going to shut up. For the people to keep on getting bent out of shape over this one damn call, look how many calls went against Camden over the last 50 plus years from the NJSIA. I told this people online last week. You know what it's like? It's like the NJSIA is the Harlem Globetrotters and Camden's the Washington Generals. They got one damn thing to go their way, and everybody goes crazy for no damn reason. Coach Rod, go ahead.
Yeah, Johnny, I can feel that. Pat, you want the high? You got the high, baby. Listen, man, I'm gonna tell you right now. First thing, word, shot clock. Get a shot clock. You know, when you playing Camden and the opponent holds the ball for 5 minutes and 30 seconds of the fourth quarter and don't score, 7 points in the whole second half? And you're up 17 at one time? So, and, you know, the state association basically clearly states that once the call is made and the refereeing crew leave the court, game is over. You can't overturn it. You can't do anything. So when they made that decision, it's ball game. Camden wins, and you got to move on. And all of the aftermath, you know, I think that's social media. You know, if you go back those many years, you didn't have a whole lot of social media. Everybody's got a microphone, everybody's got cameras, and everybody's got a side that they want to choose now. But hey, hats off to Camden. They didn't make the call. The refs made the call, and you know, it's their 13th championship. So let's celebrate that. And you know, my thing, state association from DIAA, NJSIAA, get a shot clock. I mean, the National High School Federation say you can do it. All your state associations got to approve it. And I keep hearing about cost this, cost that to install the shot clock, operating a shot clock, training. But you know what? If you hold the ball for 5 minutes and 30 seconds, come on, man. That's in a high school game. Who wants to see that? And this is like championship, you know?
I agree with you, Rod. The game, they're making the game so antiquated without a shot clock. You know what I mean? So who wants to watch it? Who wants to see it? But I agree with you, man. The game needs a shot clock, big time.
And it changes it's not only to speed up the game offensively, but it changes the strategy defensively too. Because if I'm pressing whole court, I'm trying to get 5 to 8 seconds off the clock. And when you cross, you may only have, say, if it's a 30-second shot clock, you got 22 seconds to make a decision. So it impacts the game on both ends, I think, especially from a defensive perspective. And, you know, hey, this too shall pass. Camden's got the crown, and, you know, they were the better team. Camden, I was in the summer league with Camden. We were both in the Sixers, 76ers summer league over in Wilmington, Delaware, at the field house. And Camden they were just so good, man. I mean, really, really good. I mean, I'd be on another court playing, but I could look over because I wasn't coaching. I'm like, man, these kids are just absolutely putting it on people. And, you know, they brought that same type of spirit back to across the bridge, and they got a well-deserved championship.
Go ahead, Will. You got it.
All right. First off, shout out to the High, man. You know, winning another state championship. You know, the dominant program, man. You know, public school program for sure. Like, and to me that matters. You know, seeing a public school do it. And shout out to, the Coach Wayans, shout out to the players. I feel like locally, everybody embraces Camden. We know what they can do. We are people, we embrace Camden. There's certain people that don't want to see him succeed, but they put on a hell of a show this year. You can argue they could have gone undefeated if they had their full roster eligible from the beginning of the season. And they had, I feel like a lot of people came to see Billy, of course, the big name, but they had some of the best uncommitted players, in the area, and I'm glad some of those players were getting some shine on them as well. Curry, Bethea, some of the other players, man. Camden always has talent, so I'm just glad to see a spotlight put on it. And at the end of the day, both you guys made great points about the refs. When the call is made, it's over. And from what I saw, I wasn't there in person, but the footage, I believe that I saw the person bringing the ball down. It looked like he might have stepped out. So even though the ref may not have made the correct call, you can argue that they shouldn't even have got the shot, from what I saw. So that changes it too, because at that point, Camden inbounds the ball, the game's over. But they won, man. I'm happy for them, and JP, I feel like some people may label what you said as a rant, but I feel like it was needed, because the history, you've been around the program for a long time, stemming back to your dad and everything. And, from what I know, and I'm younger than you guys, but, Camden only wins historically when they outright win. There will never be something that, goes in their favor like that. So, hey man, it is what it is. You can't cry over spilled milk. And you see that, the next game and for the chip, they were dominant. So what can you say?
Yes, definitely. Man, look, my pop worked at Camden High from 71 to about 82. And he used to tell me some of the stories, man. They used to go against like Bishop Eustace and everything. Like, man, that's one of the reasons why my pop actually became a referee, because he wanted to add some balance to the stuff that he saw when he worked at Camden High. He told me about them games with Bishop Eustace where the refs were flat out cheat, man. Now, yeah, but other older people we talk about who was around back then or stuff too would tell you the same thing. It was just blatant cheating going on, but nobody says anything about that. Nobody says anything about that at all. Coach Turner went through hell. Coach Turner opened the door for black referees in South Jersey because of the shit that excuse me for my French, but for the shit that he went through. And man, historically, let me say this. Camden High is a top 5 to 10 basketball program in high school history. Top 5, in my opinion, top 5. And it, like Will said, it's amazing that this team just keeps scoring. This is 70 years. They won their 50th sectional title and 13th state title. They played in 30 state championship games. This has been going on for damn near over 70 years. Look at all the programs that have fallen off. You don't hear about Dunbar anymore. You don't hear about Simon Gratz no more. You don't hear about Overbrook and Philly no more. You don't hear about West Philly no more. You don't hear about Crenshaw anymore. But somehow this city, this school has stand the test of time, where it's just been consistent. And of course, the players that they've had what, 7 McDonald's High School All-Americans? And we're talking about a city of really what, about 80,000 people, if that keeps rolling out talent like this. So yeah, shout outs to Camden High. Definitely one of the best high school programs in history. I mean, I have family live in Montreal. I know people in Montreal that know about Camden High School basketball. In Canada, they know about Camden High. So, this is one of the most famous basketball programs, probably worldwide, definitely in the country, from California to New Jersey. Everybody knows about Camden High basketball. Everybody does.
Hey, JP, real quick for the record, of course, the basketball program, and I'm not trying to take shine away from y'all, AB, because y'all do y'all thing. But I would say the entire athletic program, department, top to bottom, needs national recognition. When you look at the banners they got in track and field and football, and basketball, they don't get enough, man. Per capita, that's how, they measure the crime when they were the most dangerous city and all of that. But if you measure the talent that comes from the city that way, then you blowing places like Texas and California out the water. Because I mean, they're huge, states. Of course they're gonna have people, but as small as Jersey is, man, you got to get them their props.
Yeah, and also East Side as well. East Side Wilson, another Camden school. Combine them together, they got what, 20 state championships? East Side Wilson got a bunch of football championships. I mean, just the whole damn city is very talented. And it's like I always say, when Camden High and East Side Wilson got good basketball teams, it's good for South Jersey. It brings recognition to South Jersey because they are the premier programs in South Jersey, period.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So that's all I basically have. Let's talk with AB first off. We're gonna start with you first, man. What's coming up with team final this year, brother? And also I think you have some t-shirts you all have too, right? Shout it out, AB.
Yeah, well, we're getting started this weekend, man. The EYBL season is upon us, so we're gonna start preparing for the season with our 15, 16, and 17. Nike just announced a junior EYBL, so we have to put some resources into our 8th grade unit as well. They'll have some sessions and all that kind of stuff. It's always exciting, to be a part of something like that, to play against the best talent, in the world, in the country, in the EYBL. Every game is a war, every game is a battle, every game matters. So that's why it's so great, because you play against the best competition in the country. So we're getting started this weekend. We got a team store out right now. You can look at it, go to our Instagram or social media. The link is in the bio if you want to get some team final merch over the next 10 days or so. But we're excited, man. It's always hard work the off season, recruiting, having conversations and getting the right pieces and the right mix for your teams. But it's always fun once you get in season, and just to be around these great young players and the great guys. And Rod's done it for a long time too. I mean, he knows how this stuff is, man. Just to help be a part of these young men's lives and mentor them. And it's more than basketball. You gain these relationships for the rest of your life.
Yeah.
And you've been a part of their success. We've had guys that are been in the NBA. We got guys that are lawyers and doctors. We got guys that are, teachers and all kinds of police officers. But, we've helped, raise these young men. And, Rod and I go back so long on this basketball journey. It's a long time. And my hat's off to Rod, man, to make the impact he's made in Delaware in this area as well. But it's going to be a good season. It's always fun in the beginning. It's grueling at near the end of Peach Jam. Then you regroup and then you work. The hardest part is the off season, getting the best possible players to fit your program, fit your style. You recruit these kids. It used to be you recruit the kids, but now you're recruiting these families. You know what I mean? Because you want to have the right mixture, to help mold your team and your program and people that what you want team final people. We call it final fam. So it's going to be a great year, another great year with experiences. So hopefully we can make it to Peach Jam and get to the finals. We won it 3 years ago. We've been in the final 8 the last 2 years. Controversial calls. We should have been in the final 4, but you can't cry over spilled milk. Other things happened. We should have, taken care of. But hey, the kids learn. They go on, move on, and we learn as coaches and, mentors, and just try to keep competing against the best. So it'll be fun, man. If you guys ever get a chance to come to an EYBL session, get out there and see it and enjoy it.
All right.
Sir.
Hey,
Yes,
man.
sir.
Hey,
Cool, Rod.
like I say, we go way back when you was with the Juan Wagner of alt rock stars.
Exactly. 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 Way back.
Yeah, brother. Well, good luck out there. And I've never been to a EYBL session, but I might try to get to one because I follow it online, the EYBL stats and stuff. You go to the website, and that's very professionally done. And I look at how the circuits, the sneaker circuit, and most of the NBA players with impact come from the EYBL teams. So keep doing your thing, brother, and I'm always in your corner, bro.
No, I appreciate it, Rob. People don't realize the intensity of it. It's really college basketball. Like every game is streamed, it's statted and it's on Synergy.
Yep.
Everybody knows what you're running, what you're doing. You have to scout and analyze and analytics and coaching is to a premium.
Mm-hmm.
So it's really college basketball, and a lot of these teams will beat some D1 basketball teams. So it's people can look at it, but it's college basketball over these sessions, and Peach Jam is like the NCAA tournament if you ever get the chance to get down there. But I wouldn't to experience it. I feel blessed because you play and you see the best players in the country, the best coaches in the country, and it's all family. It's all family. You know, it's competitive family. So if you ever get to one, man, get to it.
Hey Aaron, so who would be somebody that's not known that's going to be known after this EYBL on your squad?
Whew, whew. I think our premier player this year, it's we were actually getting out of it last year. And,
Right. Yep. I remember.
It was like a farewell tour, and for different reasons, and I don't want to, whatever. But we Nike and us, we got together, and
Mm-hmm.
they let us know how much they valued Team Final.
Okay.
How valuable it was to the EYBL, how valuable brand we was to basketball and things of that nature. So we're still here. So
Mm-hmm.
we're putting our team together. Usually we'll bring guys up from our 15s to our 16s to our 17s.
Right.
But we've been a little unconventional this year. We'll have Jerry Easter that goes to
Okay.
La Lumiere out of Ohio.
He's a dog.
Yeah, I think he'll be a household name,
Okay.
not just to basketball fans, but I think to the average, fan across the country. I think he'll have a phenomenal year,
Okay.
and possibly she should be to me after we're done with him.
Mm-hmm.
He'll be a McDonald's All-American. That's my vision of it.
Nice. Good luck, brother.
Appreciate that.
JP.
Go ahead, Will.
All right. First off, wishing you and Team Final much success. AB, Coach Rob, man, I know you do your thing out in Delaware, man. So, your program as well.
Thank you.
I'm gonna try my best to tap in with both of y'all when I'm, up that way.
Yep.
I gotta tap in more here locally in VA too. But always when I'm close to home, I like to, get a feel for, the upcoming players. And I'm actually familiar with Jerry Easter. He's making quite a name for himself, man. I agree with you. I think 5-star, and McDonald's is in his future. One of my buddies, he's a Michigan State fan. He's praying they get Easter, but I'm like, man, after this EYBL session, I don't know if y'all gonna be able to get him, man. But Team Final is another program that when you look at the history of it, the players that's come through there, man, it's only right that Nike showed y'all, that they value y'all and want to keep y'all on board, man. Because when you think about, EYBL, when you think about, AAU, Team Final is one of the prominent brands. So, I'm glad they did that because, being from Jersey, not every, but more times than not, the best Jersey, at least South Jersey, and then Philly of players, of course, was rolling with Team Final, man. Y'all got some of the real players, MKG, Dion, Reek, like Lil Wani. So, glad to see y'all keeping that going.
I appreciate that. Appreciate that, man. And You know, one guy I'm really proud about is you know, we talk about a lot of our guys. I'm proud of all of them, but just to see a guy like Lamar Stevens go undrafted and stick in the NBA this long, and you know, and now he's playing on the Memphis Grizzlies team and making an impact. When you see a guy like that, man, that you know that can do it, and you know wasn't drafted, it just gives you like the satisfaction to say, you know what, man, this is why we doing it.
Yep.
Like that. So.
And that speaks volumes too to me about, you know, your eye as a talent evaluator, because I feel like it's easy, you know, to spot the 7'2", you know, 5-star or whatever in the gym. But, you know, development is where some of the players that, you know, the casuals may not know, you know, that's where they're, you know, the pros are made, and even, you know, high impact college players.
Yeah, no,
Hey,
you're right.
quick story. I remember way back, Aaron, when it was New Jersey All Stars. Rob Brown was on that staff. Andrew Bynum, Paul Oz, Anthony Farmer. What's the big 7-foot who went to Duke, was coming off the bench? He was just trying to find his way.
Zubek, is that him?
Zubek.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Zubek.
And that team went down to Orlando and won the
Super Showcase.
Yeah, the Super Showcase. And then the last time I think I saw, or the first time I saw Team Final, was at the Milk House in Orlando, and Team Final won with Tariq Evans. That was his junior, going into his senior year. I forget who they beat, but I was sitting at courtside watching that.
Yeah.
So it goes way back, bro.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. You know, if for folks out there, you know, I hear a lot of people complain about AAU, this, that, the third, it's destroying the game. You got two of the best coaches you can find right here on with us. Not only that there, but also good men who really care about the kids. They're not necessarily about the 5-star, about what you do in life. You know, and like me and Will always say, there's been, 4,000 players that played in the NBA in history of the league, 4,000. And I think combined, you all got 14, 15 in the NBA. I know you got 13, 14 AB, and Rod, you got one in the NBA. So you contribute to that history of getting players into the NBA.
Right. Yeah, I mean, it's a journey, and when you first start doing AAU or travel team basketball, you're not thinking that some kids jump off the chart, but some kids you don't automatically project as NBA players. You can say, yep, it's going to be a good college player, but I tell you the difference between, you don't have to be the most talented, but if you work hard, good things can happen for you, man. I mean, I remember going back to my Temple days when Rick Brunson had no idea he was going to make the NBA, but he was out there on the turf, running, getting his legs together, doing sprints. This is after the season, his senior year. And, you know, like Bones wasn't necessarily my most athletic guy, most God-gifted, but boy, nobody outworked him. And I think the work that guys put in, it matters. It really, really matters if you're working on your craft and not just, you know, playing the game, but you got to put that work in. And not only what we do at practice, but what are you doing beyond that surface, because it matters.
Yeah, definitely. I guess, you know, we can close this show out. You know, another great one we have for y'all. So we're gonna start with AB, of course, first, brother. Kick your shout outs.
Man, I just want to shout out you guys, man. It's so good. JP, I'm glad you called me, man. It's always a pleasure, man, hooking up with you. You know, we go back a long way, man. And you know, Hot Rod, man, it's history, the history we have, man, and the knowledge, and just having like some sports conversations with 3 other guys that, you know, have a separate eye but the same vision, you know, is always phenomenal, man. So my hat's off to you guys, man. Thanks for having me. And anytime, man, to talk about some good, wholesome, competitive sports with you guys, man, I'll do it any day.
Yeah. Thanks for coming on.
Hey, man, you know you're welcome anytime, man. You know that, Coach Rod.
Hey, I just go back to Niagara Lane. That's the street that JP we used to live down the street, you know, and I used to see Johnny all the time. And every time you saw Johnny, he was talking sports, man. I mean, he knew more about sports and still does. Like, so I'm glad to see that passion you had as a little boy, now that you're a grown man, you still got that passion. And the bonus here is that I got to see my man Aaron Burt tonight, brother. I appreciate that, y'all.
I'm gonna tell y'all a quick story real quick. Yeah, AB, I've known Rod for over 40 years, man. His brother-in-law is one of my best friends. And Rod always told me about that. But the reason why we do this show, you know, AB and Rod, is because two of the people we do this show, AB, you know them both. First is my pops, man. You know, my pops told me years ago, I was a little kid, he was like, man, you missed your calling as far as sports goes.
Yeah.
You know, and man, you know, part this the plus on top of that there too, you know, as people may not know, but y'all know Rod was good friends with my dad. They were golfing buddies and everything in the summertime. You know, this is therapy for me, man. Doing a show with Will, man, this is therapy for me. You know, losing my father, man, it's the hardest thing I've had to go through, and it still is the hardest thing I've had to go through in life, you know. But you know, this is really helping me. And also, AB, a person that you influence, and he always spoke highly of you, Sammy J. You know, Will was real good friends with him. I've known Sammy since he was born. You know, I was with him at his party 3 weeks before he passed, man. We got his doctorate degree, man.
Yeah.
You know, and Sammy always wanted me to meet Will and said, you know, I think you and Willie to get together and do a podcast. And because of those two, man, this is why we'll do what we do, man.
That's awesome, because I'll tell you, man, like I met Sammy when I was assistant principal at Willingboro High School. He was a student. You know, to watch him grow as a person, to get his doctorate and impact the world like he did, man, and to go so soon is so heartbreaking, because that man was touching people's lives, man, and great. He was just a great. No one could say anything bad about him, man, because he's fun-loving, spirited, um, uh, and he's just a great individual, and cared about people more than himself.
Mm.
And John and JP, your pops, man, like, I mean, he went back to reffing my games to, you know, mentoring us as players at Camden, and supporting us, and just giving us knowledgeable words and the wisdom, man. Like, he was beloved. He one of the guys that, and people don't realize, like, the impact. And I used to tell your dad, like, when I got older, just thank you, because the impact, like, to him, like guys like Whip Wilson, um, uh, I can go on and on and on, man. That people that have impacted, like, us players at Camden, when we were younger, but as you got older, you know, they watch us, and, you know, they helped us be who we are. You know, to look people in the eye, you know, to listen, not think we had all the answers, to work hard, and things of that nature. They paved the way for us. So, you know, when you talk about your dad and you talk about Sammy J, man, you're talking about two great individuals, man, that I was lucky to be a part of, man. And Will, like, if you were close to Sammy, man, like, you know, I'm sure you can talk more about him, man, and the impact that he's had. But you know, just keep his legacy going. That's all we could possibly do.
Yep.
Absolutely. And real quick, I'm not going to tell a story, but AB, man, we connected in more ways than one, man. You know, I know you know my boy Marcus Jones, you know what I'm saying? And I used to work with your son, Aaron. You know, we used to work champ, you know, mentoring the kids and everything. And, you know, I got to know you in a sense, and, you know, the type of, you know, people you raise in that way. You know, AB, stand-up dude, you know, shout out to him. I see now he's on the journey of fatherhood as well, which is dope. And, you know, so Man, we just trying to keep the legacies alive, man. Of JP, of course, your father, and my brother, Sammy, phenomenal human being. As people love to throw the term "real one" around, we know he was that, and we doing this for him, and of course our love of sports, man.
All right.
Yeah, definitely. So, on behalf of AB, Coach Rod, of course, my brother Will, we leave you all peace. Y'all everybody have a productive weekend and be safe out there.
All right, brother. Good.
Appreciate it.
All right.
Hold on, y'all can hold on for a minute too.